Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our live Q&A broadcast. I'm Kent Bang. I'm the Director of Swine Lending at Compeer Financial. This is my home office. This is the first time I've ever tried to broadcast anything from my home office, and I was kind of trying to do a little rehearsal, and I had my wife kind of looking at the screen or what was getting projected, and she said, well, can you back up? Can you back up? Can you back up? So I kept moving back until I finally said, I can't get any farther from the camera. This is going to have to work. So I'm glad that you're with us here today. I'm going to try and take a little bit of a closer walk or a look at the swine industry, how this COVID-19 is affecting the supply chain for our customers, for producers across the country. We know that everyone is facing a very difficult time. A lot of uncertainty, tremendous volatility within our industry today. Farmers are an essential part of the food chain supply, clearly, and we certainly appreciate everyone in what they're doing to produce food for this country amidst a global issue and this global pandemic. We thank you for the work that you do and hope you'll gain some insights from today. I just wanted to say that at the beginning here, if there are some questions, we're going to try and field them as we go or try and collect them as we go, and I'll try to answer them. If we don't get to them all, I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as possible on those. So let's get started. I think a couple of things I wanted to talk about today. Number one, from a production side, certainly the volatility has just been staggering. We've seen so many disruptions in the supply chain, first starting with the issues that we had around the loss of the food service sector of this industry. And that's devastating as we tried to provide and switch that to deliver that to retail products or to retail outlets and provide food for the U.S. That was a real struggle and continues to be a struggle. And I know it's frustrating for everyone here as it is to me. You can walk through stores. I live here in Omaha, Nebraska. You can walk through stores here and find very little pork at times, or at least not the products that you typically have bought, just because we continue to try to catch up early from that product that was going to food service. And now we've certainly created some other issues. That's probably not the case nationwide, but there are intermittent issues just getting product to the stores, something we've not seen in this country for a long time, maybe ever. So that's been really devastating. This week, you're looking at, depending on how people are selling pigs, maybe the value of that pig, if you can get it slaughtered, is $80. Pretty difficult when we've got cost in the $140 to $150 range for most of our producers, and that continues to be a challenge. Pork packers have also clearly been devastated by this COVID. That's where a lot of our issues are today, just from the standpoint of keeping plants open. We've tried to do as good a job as we can, and a fairly good job, I think, of tracking what's closing, what our capacity is, how many pigs are getting left behind in barns every day and every week. And but again, when I say accurately, we can predict with some accuracy what will be slaughtered today and tomorrow. But beyond that, it's very difficult to tell as plants are closing, as plants are reopening that were scheduled to reopen at a later time. And so that's a challenge to keep up, but it's critical to everybody on this call and that everyone that's listening. Just the ability to slaughter and process pork that is supplied. Yesterday, I think our harvest number was 271,000. We think that'll be a little better today, but this week we're hoping is the low, and we'll slaughter something, I think, between just short of maybe 1.6 million for the week. And we all know we've got something closer to 2.5 million for the week that are harvest ready. So this is a big week from the standpoint of leaving pigs back that at some point are going to either have to get through the chain or be depopulated from the herd. So we've gone to work. We've done a lot of work with state and national government to try and get some help. When this has to happen, I can't give you any answers of where that is at today, but that continues. We've got the ear of a lot of politicians that they understand this issue and are helping us to try and move forward. Back on the packing plants, we've had a number of notices. Last week was a really tough week from the standpoint of packers notifying that they were going to be closed for a week or 2 weeks, and many of those opened up again at some speed. We applaud the president for the using or taking action with the Defense Production Act to try and get those plants, to force those plants open. But we also have to recognize that they can open, but you can't force people to come to work. So our big issue and the continued push has to be to make workers feel safe, going back to that environment and to work all day. So they need, they need all of the screening that we can get. They need the temperature checks. They need the PPE equipment to protect themselves. And all of that together, I think, should help us slowly rebuild this capacity back. The question is, what does that look like, and what changes after that have to happen to get them online and get them even close to what they were slaughtering prior to COVID-19. So that what we're trying to do here is to try and help, clearly to try and help our clients. One of the things I wanted to point out, and I think it's a great resource if a person finds himself with heavyweight pigs, can't find a slaughter shackle for them, and we're in constant communication with the National Pork Board. I wanted to share this with you. Hopefully you can see it. This is a great resource. It's pork.org, COVID-19, a great resource on some things that you simply have to consider before you go to that step, and would deal with the EPA, your DEQ or DNR, depending on what state you're in, the Pollution Control Board, so that you're doing it correct. And you just simply, this is just a great resource to go to and capture information from that you can use. We're also, Compeer was very involved in the Paycheck Protection Program with a lot of our clients that were eligible for that program, and also are lobbying on behalf of the industry with the USDA funds that were made available for pork producers or for agriculture for COVID recovery, and just trying to get the limitation, which was set at $125,000, lifted, which I think would be a help for our customers, for you all. As we look at what we need to do forward, our relationship managers, our whole team is very willing to step up and help. We've done a lot of things with producers so far and expect to do more around maybe it is a principal deferral that can provide some help. We recognize that's not going to fix the problem, but it may, everything along the line might help a person get through this issue. But I think there's really four things that I wanted to bring up in kind of closing out here that I think folks should be thinking about. And it takes a minute. I know everybody's busy, but it takes a few minutes to sit down with your spouse, with your team, whoever that is, that helps you make those business decisions. And first off, what are the short-term and long-term implications for myself and for my company? I think this is a game changer for our industry. We need to make some considerations about what that looks like going forward. What are some of the number two? What are some of the best practices and recommendations for business survival? I think some of the issues around that you can find from help from MPPC, your state organizations, from National Pork Board can help. Our folks are willing and able to help. We see a lot of farms. We know a lot of people in the industry. We hear about practices that people are following, whether that's to slow pig growth down, to maintain so that you're not trying to slaughter all pigs at one time, those kind of things, or business issues. I think our team is geared up and ready to try and help in that regard. Number three, what are some realistic market scenarios I need to be aware of as I make strategy changes in my business? And I think this is a critical one. As I said, it's very hard to tell, and I can't sit here today and tell you what kind of capacity we're going to have when we get through all of this to harvest pigs. But my guess is that we're going to get pushed down a little bit. I think some of the recommendations are going to come back that a plant maybe that ran 10,000 pigs a day, maybe throttled back to 90% of that, or some number. I don't know what that is today. We'll learn a lot about that in the coming months. But I think those decisions and how that impacts the industry as a whole will impact us on an individual basis as we try and plan, as you try and plan a market strategy for your production in the coming years and looking out. And the fourth thing, what action should we take now to accelerate our recovery as we emerge from this? I think you really have to spend some time thinking about that from a production standpoint, from an economic and from a balance sheet and standpoint, and also looking at it from a risk management standpoint. What do I need to do today? What do I need to do in coming weeks as we come out of this to make my business work, to accelerate how I can recover financially through this and emerge out of this at the end of this crisis? So that is what I wanted to share with you today. And again, appreciate all that you do, and I appreciate you listening today, and please let us know if we can help. Thanks again.